We are students in Arlington, and we're going to deliver you a tiny scoop.
Thank you, candidates, for the county board for taking the time to answer a few Sustainable Scoop student questions.
Hi, I'm Susan Cunningham. I'm running for Arlington County Board on July 7th as the independent progressive candidate.
Educators around the country are dealing with unprecedented challenges to meet the needs of students amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The American Academy of Pediatrics says that schools should utilize outdoor spaces when possible.
Students will spend more time on screens than ever before. What ideas do you have to coordinate such opportunities, and do you see a way to collaborate with Arlington Public Schools and Parks and Recreation to achieve mutual benefits that builds a connection between students, communities, and nature?
I wanted to thank Sustainable Scoop and the teens for coming up with some great questions for the candidates. And I want to share my responses here from the Ham Middle School outdoor classroom that has just opened. Unfortunately, school hasn't been in session, but I'm sure it will be a very, very lively place as we reopen in the fall. So you asked about how we could collaborate with Arlington Public Schools to get mutual benefits to build connections between students and nature. Even before the pandemic, we knew that spending time outdoors benefits everyone's health, and especially the health of young people. Books like Last Child in the Woods by Richard Love share research about how much we lose when we spend too much time on devices in front of screens instead of taking hikes and swimming and biking with our friends. Now, during the COVID-19 pandemic, many of us, and especially our young people, are feeling more stress and trauma than ever before. To help us navigate these challenges, we need deep connections with nature. In some ways, we were fortunate with the beginning of the pandemic coinciding with the spring here in the DC area. My family and I spent most of April and May camping out in our tiny backyard, finding some peace and comfort in the sound of the birds and the trees rustling in the wind. I was reminded during those weeks of my own childhood, which I was lucky enough to spend largely outdoors, whether riding bikes endlessly or stalking birds and insects in the patches of forest near our house. I would go fishing in a little creek near our house, using sticks and leaves, no worms, no bait. And I loved to climb stone walls, rocks, trees, whatever I could find. I believe that regular contact with nature helps kids become more emotionally resilient and better able to learn. I also believe that outdoor spaces are underused as both formal and informal classrooms. I've tried to address that both in my family and in my career. When my husband and I chose a daycare for our two daughters, we made sure to pick the one with a huge pile of dirty rain boots and the muddiest kids, which turned out to be Little Beginnings Child Development Center in Lion Village. We also worked with Nancy Strinist at Early Space, a small business here in Arlington, to convert our ivy-covered backyard into a native forest with a stormwater cistern and a small stream for kids and birds to play in. They've loved it, and we are enjoying it immensely as one of our conference rooms during this prolonged time of working from home and distance learning. At work, I built and ran a public boarding school in Southeast DC. Many of the kids attending the school have grappled with poverty, racism, and gun violence. We planted the school with flowers and shrubs native to the area, built and maintained an on-site vegetable garden, and prioritized outdoor adventures in the curriculum, from the National Arboretum and Anacostia River locally to Wyoming and Maine, thanks to City Kids and Outward Bound. Admittedly, some of our experiments with indoor vermiculture, yeah, that's worms, in my office, did not end so well. But we did learn a lot about the efficient eating and reproductive habits of maggots. Enough said. One of my favorite things about Arlington is that 99% of our residents of all ages are within a 10-minute walk of a park or a natural area. That is more important than ever during this strange time. Schools have a big role to play in helping students connect with nature, and now is the time to really focus on that. There's a well-known expression, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So with some planning and creativity, we can make school during COVID a little sweeter. How? A few ways. First, we must provide outdoor classrooms at our schools. County and Nova Parks can partner with APS to develop content and/or supplement school staff to bring students outside for meaningful curriculum and connection. Recreation centers and grounds can be made available for schools to use for both formal instruction and as a remote learning hub. For instance, the brand new Lubber Run, Recreation Center, Nova Parks locations in like Upton Hills Park, and National Park Service sites like Roosevelt Island could be used to provide safer, fresh air gathering spaces for students. We can deliver new curriculum and programming for students by collaborating with community organizations such as Eco Action Arlington, Energy Masters, Master Gardeners, Master Naturalists, Audubon Society, Sierra Club, 4-H, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, Smithsonian, and Phoenix Bikes, which is a family favorite since my husband Philip was a co-founder and the entire inventory lived in our basement for the first year or so. This could also include hiking and trail building, organizing biking buses to school or rides on remote learning days, arranging school-sponsored campouts and virtual outdoor lab events. We could get creative about what a curriculum entails and include activities such as service field trips and walkable meetups in local parks, park cleanups, bird watching, tree inventory, and even a library challenge to both read and take action in environmental work. These activities will bring students in small, socially distant groups until we get a vaccine into all corners of Arlington, create environmentally aware citizens of the county, and expand students' sense of school learning. Finally, young people are usually the most creative and innovative among us, so I'm curious what kinds of ideas you have to strengthen connections among students and their community and nature. I look forward to hearing more from you.
Do you believe every school should present a sustainability and waste management plan to ensure it aligns with the county's stated goals?
I definitely think each school should have a sustainability and waste management plan. APS has a robust community sustainability committee, so that would probably be the natural coordinating body. Our new superintendent, Dr. Duran, should be actively involved in championing, as well as the principals and PTA or PTSA for each building. Ideally, each school would have a student-led sustainable scoop activist team to drive and hold the parents, staff, and contractors accountable. The county, private sector, and nonprofit partners can also be good allies, particularly on waste stream management, on-site and off-site composting. I love the idea of a standard Arlington takeout container as pitched by youth for the Amazon site. Perhaps we could start with lunch boxes and school lunches, getting PTA and PTSAs to co-brand for school spirit. We have made good progress on school energy efficiency. Our APS energy manager, Kathy Lynn, is an incredible one-woman band, but she needs more support. Let's get students, PTAs, PTSAs, and community members to work together to scale this effort. Schools and county staff and boards must work hand in hand to make sure our goals are aligned. We should also consider an Arlington County Natural Resources Office to lead an integration of school and county goals. This office should report to the county manager, not reside within the Department of Environmental Services, which is largely focused on transportation and public works.
Thank you, candidates, for the county board for taking the time to answer a few Sustainable Scoop student questions.
Thanks for your great questions. I look forward to more, and I hope that those of you who are registered to vote will vote on July 7th, and I look forward to serving you. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Best of luck to you all on July 7th.